please welcome now to the stage our next speaker, Miss Katie Heitmann, and her thesis, Beauty Shouldn't Hurt.
Deprived of food, engulfed in darkness, Alicia shakes. The sole light within her bedroom beams from her television, yet the audio seems desolate as the growling from her stomach roars. Though her face resembles a ghost, her legs twigs, a beam of joy is stained across her face. I am beautiful, she repeats to herself when neglecting to eat essential meals. I am beautiful, she repeats to herself when reading compliments online. I am beautiful, she repeats to herself when 70-degree weather now requires a winter coat. This is worth it to her. She believes she is beautiful. Across the street marches Sabrina. Having dealt with severe weight gain after quitting her high school basketball team, she begins to question, why are these girls being idolized for starving themselves? Why can't I be praised for living my life? Why can't everyone? Sabrina soon realizes she's not alone. Across social media, she reads posts celebrating all bodies as beautiful, celebrating rejecting the beauty standards, celebrating whatever lifestyle you wanted, no matter how sinful. This rebelling, it is worth it to her. She believes she is beautiful. In a fallen world, this is what beauty has become, a plague. A plague where indulging in vice is shined upon. A plague where being unhealthy is idolized. A plague which discourages the proper treatment of our God-given bodies. So, if this is not what beauty is, then what does beauty truly entail? I argue that beauty must entail health. According to Roger Scruton, English philosopher, beauty can be defined as something sought after for its own sake and something pleasurable. This sense of pleasure must be objective, meaning that it must be agreed upon by all individuals what beauty consists of. University of Texas's meta-analysis of over 919 studies proved just this, concluding that beauty is objective in regards to its components. Aside from being objective, we can split beauty into two categories. Internal beauty being one's virtues and fruits of the spirit, and external beauty being strictly an appearance of internal beauty, meaning it is not essential that the internal beauty they display, they have. However, there is one exception to this: health. Health overrides this idea that beauty is some sort of facade, for I argue that health is cultivated directly through virtues. These virtues have an effect on both our internal beauty and our external appearance. The World Health Organization, who is in charge of coordinating health within the United Nations, defines health as the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely just an absence of disease or infirmity. The clearest way in which we can connect this to being cultivated through virtues is through observing diligence. Diligence, careful and persistent work, requires us to be particular in our actions. In regards to health, when seeking to nourish our bodies, if we lack diligence, we will become unhealthy. Executive Director at UCLA Center for Neurobiology of Stress, Emerson Meyer concludes that that consuming foods that have a high carbohydrates and sodium will have a direct negative effect on both our physical health and our mental health, concluding that diligence is essential for health. The next virtue we can observe is temperance. Temperance is the ability to do things in moderation. In regards to health, there are two types of intemperance: overindulgence and lack of indulgence. Overindulgence can be seen in things such as overeating or even overresting. Proverbs 25:16 states, "If you find honey, eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit." This verse recognizes that honey is something to be delighted in. Yet, if we lack diligence, there will be consequences. These consequences, having your fill of it and vomiting, are direct impacts upon our human health, concluding that if we lack temperance, we will lack health. With this, we understand that since it requires virtues to cultivate health, a lack of virtues will result in a lack of health. Virtues are essential for internal beauty, and external beauty is an appearance of internal beauty. Thus, health must be essential for beauty. Though, how can we say this when there have been countless examples throughout history of individuals that are seen to be beautiful but not healthy? For example, we can observe the Venus figures. These figures were crafted over 30,000 years ago. They depicted Venus, the goddess of beauty, as what we would call today overweight. So, does this not mean that health is not essential for virtue? While it is true that these sculptures do depict Venus in a form that we today would not deem healthy, we must observe the context. Richard Johnson, author and professor at the University of Colorado, conducted a study in which he observed the background behind these sculptures. He states that these sculptures were crafted at a time of extreme nutritional stress, meaning as these sculptures were being created, the artists were starving. Their idea of health was to become nourished. And who would be the most nourished? The gods. This idea proves that the disconnect is not, in fact, upon what beauty is, but instead lies in what health is. While achieving external beauty by no means is the goal of life, we must if we continue to allow this plague of false beauty to corrupt our society, we will become infected with vice. This plague surrounds us, affecting us or the ones we love. 42.4% of the American population is obese, and almost 10% will get diagnosed with an eating disorder in their lifetime. Not only do these individuals uphold a weaker immune system and a shorter lifespan overall, but are 14 times more apt to commit suicide than their peers. We must put an end to this. We must preach truth. We must preach virtues. So, now what? You can acknowledge that this exists and go on with your day, yet I challenge you to do more. Living in a world where beauty is so heavily valued, yet so intertwined with vice, we must remind ourselves, our friends, our family, our kids, of God's true intent. That God created virtues to allow us to become more Christ-like. That God created virtues to create something beautiful. Thank you.